I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's your day? It looks beautiful where you're at. Where you at?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Man, so you've rode quarantine out up there, huh?
Yeah, I live in New York City, but it was just too crazy over there, and my parents have a house up here, so I was like, you know what? Why don't I just come? But it's been really nice.
That's kind of how it is for me too. I'm based in Nashville, but I mean, quarantine hit and I was like, my parents live in Florida. I think I'm going to Florida.
Yeah, and everything's open there too. My sister lives in Miami, and she's been saying that everything's been opening up over there too.
Honestly, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for me in my situation, because like my grandparents are both like, I mean, my grandpa's like a cancer survivor and like has a weakened immune system, stuff like that. So like my family is hypersensitive to like we're really trying to take it very seriously just for his sake, you know what I mean? And so it's been like a little bit of tight reins around here, but that's okay. It's kept me very, very focused.
Okay, all right. And how long has it been since you've like gone anywhere or gone outside?
Dang. Well, I mean, I go places every day. I just like the what I do is just changed a little bit. Like my day is, you ever feel like a little bit like, especially during quarantine, that you're living the same day again and again, like this is like the Truman world or something. Mm-hmm. This is kind of where I'm at right now. Like every morning I wake up, I wake up late. Don't judge me for this, but I wake up at like 11, and I'll like stumble out into the kitchen, make the exact same coffee that I make every single day from the Keurig, and it's the best coffee ever. But like, it's you know, you just want something a little different, and I eat like every morning I eat 6 eggs. That's my thing, and then I finish that and I get to work. I make a bunch of videos and a bunch of content for social media, and I do that until like, well, when I'm not doing that, I'm like, today I couldn't do that because I was doing a song, right? Or something like that. But usually that's my working hours. So I just work from like, you know, noon until like 4 or 5. And then 4 or 5 o'clock, I pivot and I start preparing. Like, that's my like grace period between what I have to do, when I have to do this show that we started doing like 65 days ago. We do this like live show every night at 7:45. So right around 5:30, I take a break, and like we live on the lake. So sometimes I'll take the boat out and just like look at the sun to remember that the world exists. Yeah. And then I come back and we do the live show, and the live show ends at like 10 o'clock. And then I sit up in my phone and just think of ideas for songs and think of ideas for content for the next day, and then do the same thing again.
That's so funny because I had to set an alarm today for 11:30 because usually I wake up at like 12, 1 o'clock because I stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning.
I did. You know what? Here's the thing. I'll say this. Like, and do you go by Juliet or Julie?
Juliet.
Okay, so Juliet, I think that the generation ahead of us doesn't understand how productive we can be at 2:30 in the morning.
That's when I get all my work done. Schedule all my emails, posts, anything I need to do, 2:30 in the morning.
That's it. That's me too. Like, it's so crazy. I'll sit in my bed and like all the content that I need to come up with for the next day is decided that night. So that when I wake up, although it's like noon, like I can knock it out in a couple hours as opposed to sitting there and hoping something stumbles upon. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And do your parents like kind of judge you because you stay up late and wake up really late too?
I mean, they wouldn't be parents if they didn't judge me on that. If they didn't like, well, maybe if you woke up earlier, you get more done. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, if you stayed up till 3 in the morning, and they're like, well, why are you watching YouTube so late? And you're like, Dad, I'm not, you know, you just,
that's when
I'm thinking anything like, right? That's because here's the thing. Everybody always talks about like, I don't really get this. Can we just talk about this for a second? I don't really get how parents are like, they're like, you know, if you just wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, I can focus. I'm the only one up. It's so nice. And I'm like, oh my, how do you even focus at that early in the morning? Like when everybody goes to sleep, now you got me.
If I'm up at 6:30 in the morning, that's from the night before. That's not getting up to start my day, if you know what I mean.
I got you. Yeah. You're like, oh, wow. It's a long work day. Yeah. Here's the sun.
But
That's terrifying.
I have been following you on social media, and I have been seeing some of these TikToks that you've been making with your siblings. Those are really funny. Talk to us maybe a little bit about that. How's it been with all your siblings?
It's been a dream. It's so cool. I've always known my sister and my brother and my like all three of my sisters were like, I've always known that they like could do the same thing that I've been doing for all these years. And to see like this quarantine has totally changed our family's life. It's the most cool thing. I sat and talked to my brother the other day, and he said to me, this is like so cool. Because he's my age, and he's been a server for like, I mean, I call him a brother, but he's actually my best friend. We took him in because he had a bad family situation. And so now he lives with us, and that's a long story in itself. But anyways, he's been a server since he was a young kid, different restaurants and stuff. And like, we were sitting down the other day, and he said, dude, I can officially quit being a server. I get to do this full time now, which is like the coolest feeling to me, that he now gets to be his own boss and like ultimately wants to be a speaker. And so that's really special to me because he's growing his own influence. And my sister wants to be like, she wants to be in this market too. And so the fact that like I've been home for the last couple months, and that there's been such like an opportunity for me just to kind of dive in with them and help them grow their own thing. Cause like, I don't know if you're watching their social media, but like, it's really special what's going on. I'm having a lot of fun working with the people that I love. I'm going a little stir crazy. Like, I would love to have a little bit of a break. I've talked about it a million times. At this point, I'm pretty sure that I would pay $10,000 to go to Hawaii for a weekend. But you know what? The upside of doing all of this right now is just so great. It's just like, I cannot complain.
If we didn't have all this, you wouldn't be home with your family. You'd probably be working like crazy, because I know I'd be doing the same too, you know?
Yeah, well, I was in the middle of a UK tour when the news broke that they were shutting down the border. Like, so that was terrifying. I was over there in London. We were doing a whole tour. Like, we had just played Amsterdam, 2 nights in Berlin. We were on the way to play like Munich and Glasgow and a couple other different places. And we were ending in London. We had to cut all those shows, go directly to London, because we were afraid things were getting worse. And a lot of the places, and like there were like hot spots in Germany and Italy and stuff that we had to avoid. So we had to cancel a bunch. And we went to London. And on the way to Piccadilly, which is like their Times Square, because it's like one of my favorite places to hang out when I'm overseas. Okay. We got a call from my agent saying that they were like, there's just like a heads up. There's a good chance that they're shutting down the border. That the United States is like announcing that there's going to be like no travels back. And we were like, that's not okay because we're supposed to go home. And so when Donald Trump announced the news at like 1 o'clock our time, we booked a flight like the next minute, because we were one of the only places that was allowed to come back home. And we were so afraid that they were going to isolate us, because they were like, everybody was threatening like isolation for like 4 weeks when you got back home, where you had to be like kept by yourself in some kind of concentration. Yeah. The eyes, just very spooky stuff. And so you're right. I would have been hustling my butt off overseas. But you want to know what's crazy?
Tell me.
It wasn't until I stopped traveling the world that I started reaching it.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
It's like not even just a good saying. It's a wild feeling. It's been ridiculous, like the amount of productivity you can have straight from your room.
I know.
And so like, not that like I want to boast about that stuff at all, because I'd rather keep it a secret. But like, to me, like, it's so cool that I get to do my life with my family right now. And I don't know that it'll always be like this. I'm really looking forward to getting back on the road and seeing those people that I've connected with over this quarantine. Because like I said, we've been going live every single night for 2.5 hours. And this is tonight will be our 67th broadcast, right? And doing that so much and watching the comments and getting to know people, like I legitimately can tell you things about my fans like they were my best friend. Like we've talked about everything. They know everything about me. I know so much about them. So to get to put faces to the names is going to be really special. But all in due time.
Yeah, no, that's so nice though that you get to connect with everybody. I know you're doing this online thing where you're going to go on a date with somebody.
My first one's tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, it's so special. I mean, like, I'm very excited. I was just looking for different ways to connect with my just to get to know people a bit deeper. You know what I mean? Like the ultimate goal for me is to turn fans into friends. I've always hated the idea of a fan, because it's like we've turned that word from such an honor into like I feel like in our culture it's almost like degrading. At least from a creator's perspective, it's like they're just a fan. Like, I hate that. Like, when I say that I'm a fan of someone's music, it doesn't mean I'm worth less than them, but I feel like our culture's created it that way. And so I wanted to break down that wall that says that I'm somehow something different than anybody else. And so, like, I wanted to do that in every way I could. And the only way that I feel like you can do that is to learn people and to understand who they are as opposed to just what they are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I was looking for new ways to do that. And we had a new song coming out, and this one song, Comeback, and we can talk about this a second, but the one song, Comeback, is more about my past and some of the things I think about when I think about my past, and Where'd You Go is more about my future. And so I thought, why not do something in the present and you know, just for fun, since I can't go anywhere anyways, do a couple cyber dates, and we try to make it special. Like, we're gonna try, don't hold you to this because it's always different depending on who wins, but like, we're gonna try and buy her roses and send them to her house, and we're gonna try and like I love freaking P.F. Chang's, so I'm gonna try and see if we can't get some like P.F. Chang's to her, or like some Cheesecake Factory, and like put like a cloth on the table and some candles, and just like make it really fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's just so much negative energy going around right now. Like, I am just so happy that I can be even a small glimmer of a light in this time, you know?
Of course. And I know you mentioned your other 2 songs that are out right now, and I kind of wanted to talk about them for a little bit. They're very personal to you. So maybe take me through, like, why did you want those to be, you know, your new songs?
That's a great question. Those 2 songs in particular have different meanings to me, both of them. And so I'll tackle one at a time.
Okay.
But they kind of go together, and I'll tie them together at the very end. Like, Comeback, it's so cool. The way that song came out was like exactly what I wanted to be, because I wanted to talk about a topic that was a really big thing for me, that was super vulnerable for me to talk about, but I didn't want to do it in a sappy way. And so it was really cool to take like a rolling cadence beat that I hadn't really heard done in country music, or really I hadn't heard done at all, and try to pair that with this, like, I don't want to say insecurity, but it's the best word I can think of right now. Like, I had just been coming off, like, we're friends, so I'll tell you, I had just been coming off of a year-long relationship, right? Mm-hmm. And leaving that relationship, the reason I had to leave it is because I realized I had a finite amount of time, and I could either pursue my dreams at the fullest capacity I was capable of, or I could cut some of that to give the relationship the time and attention that it deserved and needed to thrive, right? And I felt like me wanting to set myself up for success, 2 things. One, I felt like after being in that relationship as long as I did, and knowing that it would need more energy, like I didn't want to be the kind of guy that continued a relationship on those kind of terms. Like, when I date someone, I want to mean it. I want to give them the time and attention that it deserves, because I don't want to start a relationship on anything. I don't want them to ever think that they're worth less than anything else. And so coupling that with the fact that I've been chasing country music since I was 12, and I felt like I deserved to see it through, to see what I was capable of in it, I knew I needed to lay it down. And then I started to wonder, because, you know, country's always been the dream, like, is it though? Or has love always been the dream? And I just disguised it as country music. Like, what if country music was always just the vessel to get to the real dream? And I just laid down the real dream for the vessel. This is really deep.
Yeah,
but I
like this.
But like, that's where Comeback came from. So it's like, all my friends are telling me to shake it off, but I just want you to come back to me. And it's like this idea of regret and just authentically, vulnerably myself. It just kind of came through in this way that I wanted to share with my audience, because I feel like everyone can kind of relate to that in their own way. And then on the opposite end, you got Where'd You Go? And that song was about a dream I had when I was like 15, 14. As this young kid, I had this dream of this girl I'd never met before, and like, she was like everything. I don't know what it was about her. I don't remember what she looked like as much as I remember how it felt to be around her. And it was just like nothing I'd ever experienced. And so I remember holding fast to that and like looking for that girl in my day-to-day life, and I could never find her. And so to this day, I've always kind of looked for her, and that whole song is about the dream that I had. And it's so cool to think about it like this, but like, I don't know. It's a wild thought to think that the girl I'm going to marry most likely will hear that song and may not even know that that song was created for her when she first hears it.
Crazy.
You know?
Crazy.
It's a weird thought.
I love it. So now, who do you draw inspiration from when you're making your music? Obviously, it's personal experiences, but any musicians in particular that you really look up to when you're writing songs?
Oh, if you saw my playlists, you would think I'm crazy. I listen to everything from like, I mean, the piano solo at the beginning of "Where'd You Go" was inspired by Moon, which is by if you know who Debussy is, he's like this classical artist like from like 300 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. It's like one of the most beautiful songs. And then I also take a lot of inspiration from like the claps and stuff like that I found in that are "Where'd You Go" are more like almost Jamaican trap a little bit. It's weird, but they like in the way that they lay on top of like these John Mayer chords. I could literally go down the list. I truly believe creativity is building on the backs of those that inspire you the most, right? That's what I think creativity is. It's like, I love all these things. Let me put them in a bucket and like make my own cake now. And I think for me, the music, the artistry, like the music behind it, it comes from all over the place. And I can't help but want to tell stories. One of my biggest fears has always been not connecting with my songs, you know, something taking off, but it not being me and having to play that song for the rest of my freaking life. And so knowing that about myself and knowing how much I love to tell stories, it's like, I've always like that. That's why I always tell people how country found me. Like, I cannot help but just want to express in the most vivid of details, like who I am and what I've experienced and what I've felt. Just because, like, to me, that's what touched me about country, is that I could connect with it. It made me feel like I wasn't alone. When I didn't have the words, it expressed things that I needed to express. You know what I mean? It helped me a lot. And so I want to be that for others. And the only way you can really do that effectively, in my opinion, is just to be as authentic and raw and vulnerable and confident in that as you possibly can. And so that's where I drew inspiration from. Like, I mean, with the songwriting, you could look at everyone from like Garth Brooks to all the songs I grew up on by Kenny Chesney and Tim McGraw. Like, even Tim McGraw's new stuff is just like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, country is just the perfect genre to do that. I feel like you can't do that really in pop or hip hop or anything. You know, it's like country is known for artists being authentically themselves. And also you have creative control too, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Well, and what's cool is I've had a little bit of flexibility. Like, I think both the songs we created are so special because they're country songs, but me and Dan Huff, who, if you know Dan Huff, he's the absolute bomb. He's the man. We sat down and took those country tracks and did what we had to do to make the songs feel connected. It wasn't just country tracks. It was like, Comeback is like this country track with like this air of reminiscence and unknown, like this vibe that you get from like the lead line in the very beginning of the song, and the way that there's like a deep undertone that brings suspense the whole time. Like, and then you look at "Where'd You Go" and it's got that beautiful piano that almost takes you into a dream state. You know what I mean? It's like dream state country. And so like getting to be creative on top of what are traditionally country tracks was like really special. And like nobody could have pulled that up except for Dan Huff. He's the man.
I know. He's incredible. I mean, there's a reason why he's won so many awards, you know?
Totally. Yeah. And he's a good person too. I like that guy.
And I know you talked a little bit about earlier how you have a new song coming next month in June. Maybe can you talk to us a little bit about that?
You're the first one that I'm talking to about this one. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're getting the exclusive here. This is great.
You are the first one to talk about it. Like, Feels Like Love is a really special song for me too. Like, it's like, I've got this air of, I don't believe like life should be lived by minutes. It should be lived by moments, you know? Mm-hmm. And that song engulfs that feeling to me. It really does. When I think about it, it's just, even the verse, it says like, let's run this town like the cops are behind us. Maybe no slowing down. Like I love the idea of living life in moments, not minutes, and not letting time escape you, but like making the most of every single second you have with someone. And like just the innocence and simplicity of the chorus and talking about if it feels like love, and baby, that's what this is. Like, you know, like it's so cool because it's who I am when you put me in that position. Like when I'm next to the girl that I'm head over heels for, that's exactly what I am. I don't overthink it. Just go for it. And like to get to put that and express that in a song, I think a lot of people are going to connect with that feeling. I think it's going to clear the air on whether or not people love people a lot. And I like that.
Okay. And what do you want people to really take away from your music? You know, you're so personal. You're giving all these deep thoughts. What do you want people to take away when they listen to your songs?
Hopefully that there's an authentic person on the other side who's genuinely there pouring their heart out in hopes that like they connect with it, that they have their own experiences, and that I'm just like, if my music had an undertone of anything, it's that, you know, we were all created to be dreamers. We were all created like with insecurities and big hopes and dreams and stuff. And I hope that like we can do this life together. I hope that my music brings people together. That's the big thing for me. It's like, I think we are separated. It's so sad in this society by 1% and not united by the 99% that we all have in common. So if I could be part of the thing that like highlights that people are a lot more the same than they are different, and bring people together in that way. I mean, when you look at people at music fests or at country concerts, what's so cool is you have so many people united behind the something that they all passionately feel like is their thing. And it just connects them all. And like, I want to be part of that. Because I believe that brings joy to this world. I don't know.
Of course. And now, do you have maybe any new music in the works besides this single, maybe like an EP or an album that we could look forward to?
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, I think I'm supposed to give them back the title for the EP and stuff here pretty soon. Okay. I just got my deadline on it because we have another song after Feels Like Love called Meet the Man that's coming out. And you're the first one to know about that too. I'm very excited about that song. It's just a raw, authentic part of who I am and my values. And I think that hopefully that shines through when the audience hears it.
Okay. All right. And we are Celeb Secrets. So when I interview people, I ask them about their secrets. So it's maybe like a secret or fun fact about you that our fans and maybe your fans don't know.
Give me an example, because secrets can go anywhere. Give me an example of something you'd want to know.
I don't know. Like maybe like a fun fact, a hidden talent, something when you make your music that people wouldn't know. I don't know. Maybe something you like to do with your family.
When I make my music, it's always about one person.
Okay.
It's either about someone that I've already met, someone that I've only seen online, or someone that I'm yet to meet.
Okay.
You know?
But now everything comes from all the songs about one person specifically, or it's just anyone?
No. They're all different. And that's a secret I'll never tell. There is one thing that I do not do, and I probably won't until I'm married, then I got to, but like, I don't like to give anybody the definitive on who the songs are about. That's just the way I work. But I will say that all the songs are about, like, each song individually is about a particular person. Maybe the same person for a couple, different people for some. Not always the people you would think either. They're not all about like my past relationships. Some of them are about people that I've just like, you ever just been on like social media and you're like inspired by what somebody said in a quote, you know what I mean, on their bio or something, and you just like, it takes you from there. Like You really never know where inspiration comes from, but it usually sticks with one person for me.
Okay.
So far.
And none of the girls know that the songs are about them, right? You don't tell them. They just listen to it and maybe think, oh, this is about me.
Let them think it.
I mean, that's the word. I had a song written about me once, and I didn't know about it until I listened to it, and it wasn't so good. No one knows that. I haven't told anyone that.
I'm not big on bagging people. I just like, but I also don't need to be giving exes no clout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why I was curious. I was curious to know if the ladies know that the songs are about them, because
heck no. Heck no. Can you imagine the clout? Can you imagine the way that would bite me in the butt with my friends? Not a chance. These crazy people. Maybe one day if like I'm marrying that chick and it's like a marriage song, maybe then I'll tell her. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh man, Noah, thanks so much. Listen, this was supposed to be 15 minutes and we were on for a half hour. So thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was great getting to know you and your music. And hey, listen, hopefully I see you somewhere, Nashville, New York, LA, wherever you go, and we could connect.
Forget the coronavirus. Okay? I hear that coronavirus is pretty bad in New York, so just stay safe.